To match angling, the UK Championships is unique, both in format and prestige. The victor is determined over 4 rounds, with each one at a different venue. And going into the final match at Barston Lakes in Solihull, it was tight at the top. Darren Cox was leading the way. England international, who by anyone's standards is having a truly wonderful season. A rejuvenated Tom Pickering was in contention though, as were Paul Yates. Luke Sears was also in with a shout, alongside former champion John Arthur. In the end, it went right down to the wire, and Andy Ford was lucky enough to see it all happen.
There are lots of very big matches that are all about the money, but this one is a little bit different. This one is about the glory. It's also about this thing here. This magnificent trophy is what the winner of the UK Championships 2009 will take away. If you look down on the nameplate here, you'll understand why this match is so special. There are the names of 4 world champions down here. We're here at Barston Lakes in the West Midlands to see who's going to win it this time. The field was smaller than for past championships, with only 27 anglers in the final. But some of the best around were at Barston, Fishermania finalists, former winners. This was going to be a classic. Tommy Pickering ran the UK Championships as organiser for years before giving up. This time he was back as a competitor. He was 2 points behind the leader Darren Cox. Barston owner Nigel Harry took over running things. What is it about the UK Champs that makes it a bit special there?
Well, it's 25 years history, and a few world champions have won it, Scotthorne and Nerd and Will Raisin. So there's a lot of history with this event, and it was up for grabs. Nobody wanted to run it, and Tommy asked me if I'd do it, so I'd take it over.
So who do you fancy today? Who's your money on?
Well, Darren's got a 2-point lead ahead of Tommy and Paul Yates, and Darren likes this lake very much, and he's very good here, very consistent. So I think Darren Cox, I hope as well. He deserves to. He's been second before, well deserves to win.
Having been the organiser of this said event, I mean, what does it mean to people? Because it's not about the money at all, is it really?
Oh, the UK Individual Championships for me is there's 3 events to win. There's a Part-D Masters, Fishermania and this one. And it's been going a long time, this event now, and to me I think it's a very special event. But when you organise it, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to actually try and take it seriously, the fishing. And now I'm not. I can take it seriously and put all my efforts into trying to win it.
They're just not about money. It's about the kudos. It's about getting your name on a trophy alongside people like Tom Pickering. So he's won it once already. So it'd be lovely to get up there with people like him and Alan and Will. You know, it'd be a real honour. But I've got a long 5 hours ahead of me.
So here we go then. I've got the honour of starting things off. Darren and Tommy had drawn in separate sections. Both were on end pegs. Tommy was determined to try and catch the leader, but no one could have imagined the drama that was to come. Darren's draw looked favourable, the wind blowing into a corner on peg 4, but things didn't work out entirely in his favour. He needed to finish second in his section to put Tommy totally out of the picture. It was going to be a fight right to the end. Everyone was catching on a stunning day at Barston in a match which started at 1 p.m. The lake was producing plenty of F1 carp for the likes of John Arthur, who's won the championship twice. Even the organiser Nigel Harry was doing well, between and occasionally during telephone conversations. There were 2 main challengers for the overall championship. First was Paul Yates, in 3rd place going into the final. He was catching fish, but not regularly enough to put him in the frame. On the end peg and 4th overall was Luke Sears. He could win the whole thing if Darren and Tommy failed to score well in their respective sections. He was putting pressure on the rest of the field from the very start, making the most of the room he had. In the first hour, Luke had landed 40 fish, far more than anyone else on the lake. Back over on the road bank at Barston, Tommy was catching as he alternated between fishing a method feeder and his pole line. But he was locked in a fish-catching race with his Preston Innovations teammate Andy Finley. It would provide one of the biggest dramas ever seen in the 25-year history of the event. Back on peg 4 as the match reached its conclusion, Darren Cox was catching steadily. But there was no sign of the large bream or proper carp, which so often populate this area of the lake. His chances were dependent on what was happening elsewhere in his section. At least 2 anglers were beating him, among them Nigel Harry. It was pushing Darren down into 3rd place in the section, opening the way for Tommy. If he could win his section on the opposite side of the lake, he'd be crowned the UK champion for the 3rd time in his illustrious match fishing career. Well, this one really has been too close to call. When the scales arrived, it was gripping stuff. Darren weighed in with 25 kilos, 900 grams. With others in his section managing occasional carp, it pushed him into 3rd. The tension was growing by the second.
I'm going to check them, then I'll put them back in and check them. Make sure they work and stuff.
Luke Sears produced an exceptional performance in the final hour to win the individual match overall. The man from Hallcroft caught several large carp from the margin to obliterate the rest of the field on the day.
Total 50.825.
At this stage, Darren was overall champion, but only if Tommy had failed to beat Andy Finley. The Finn had 32 kilos, 100 grams.
Got 30 kilos, so I ain't got 32 kilos.
As the sun set on a stunning autumn evening at Barston, the scales arrived at Tommy's peg. He was convinced he didn't have enough.
No, not that big.
The frustration was clear to see. But events were about to take an extraordinary turn.
7,500.
The weigh-in revealed one of the most amazing occurrences in the history of the UK Championships.
Draw.
What?
Bang on a draw. Both get the same point then.
He'd caught exactly the same weight of fish as Andy Finley over 5 hours. They'd matched each other fish for fish. It meant they each got 10 points for a section win, and Darren Cox was pushed down into 2nd place. After checking and rechecking the maths a dozen times, it was confirmed. His face was a picture, and the truth hit Tommy Pickering like a thunderbolt. So for the 3rd time in his amazing match fishing career, it was Tommy Pickering who was crowned UK champion.
Now then, chaps, talk us through that.
Well, the smile from ear to ear probably gives it away who's won, really, but that was... it's not often you feel physically sick when you're weighing in, but I felt physically sick today when I was weighing in.
I knew Tom would be over there, just cool, calm and collective, just putting them in the net all day, and he did, so fair play to him. Deserves it.
I mean,
I'll get my name next to him one day.
It's a fair-sized trophy. It has to be that big to take all Tommy's match winnings in it, you know, that's what it is. It's amazing, though, that out of all the anglers there, and some great commercial anglers there, the top 2, probably 2 of the finest natural water match anglers we've got in this country at the moment.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I don't go match fishing, but I can certainly appreciate the art of doing it. The pressure, I wouldn't want that pressure, that's for certain.
Well, then you know how to fish a flat float next to me, didn't you? You stuck me in the boilie old swim with a feeder.
Right.